I have been in a very happy, loving relationship with my fiance for over 8 years, and I still have these fucking dreams.
I got a glitch.
Hello my loves and welcome back. It's Ash, your truth-bombing fairy godmother for everything love, dating, and relationships. I am so very excited for today's video because this is something that I know so many of us, including myself, have experienced or are still experiencing even years and years later, and that is having dreams about an ex. Why am I having dreams about my ex? What do dreams about an ex mean? I get questions like that from you guys all the time, and I think this is such a fascinating yet really mysterious topic that I can't wait to dive into and share my thoughts on. But first, if you would like new love, dating, and relationship videos every single week, then I highly suggest subscribing to my channel by tapping that button below. So, you're having dreams about an ex. Whether you're single or happily in a new or long-standing relationship, let me firstly reassure you that having dreams about an ex is extremely normal. However, I know that there is a lot of shame around this, and I think that's why most people aren't willing to admit it or talk about it openly, especially if they're in a relationship or committed to someone else. But I know for a fact that this experience is extremely common because, one, I was a part of an online community and therapy group for relationship anxiety sufferers for several years, and having dreams about exes was an extremely common theme amongst almost all of us. And two, the amount of search volume for this topic when I was doing the keyword research for this video was huge. So rest assured that you are very far from alone and that there is absolutely nothing wrong with you or your relationship just because you're having dreams about an ex. And even if the dreams feel very intoxicating or electric, or the content of them is really passionate and intense, which it often will be, there is still nothing wrong with you. But this is where we often feel shame, and why I think a lot of us keep our dreams about an ex a secret, because they are often mistakenly taken at face value. We have a really passionate, exciting dream about an ex, and the obvious face value interpretation of that is that we must still want to be with our ex, or that we are unsatisfied with our current partner. And this just flat out isn't true. From a scientific perspective, even within the psychological community, dreams are what would be referred to as a mysterious agent, meaning they can't be studied in a controlled environment with the proper application of deductive reasoning or anything like that. Dreams can't be measured or operationalized, and we don't have any conclusive findings about them. Therefore, all we really have when it comes to dreams, even with all the research that may exist, are interpretations or speculations. And those interpretations and speculations are vast. They are literally endless, and there's no way of knowing which theories are right or wrong. And honestly, right or wrong probably doesn't even exist when it comes to theories about why we have certain dreams about certain things. However, I want to share with you the theory or the line of thinking that resonates with me most, and one that I was introduced to during that time in the therapy group that I referenced before. And that is Carl Jung's, a Swiss psychiatrist from the early 1900s, I believe. Carl Jung's perspective of dreams, which takes the stance that dreams communicate to us using metaphors and symbols, and therefore shouldn't be taken at face value at all. He really valued dreams, and he felt like they carried really important messages from the unconscious, but not in the literal way that they often come to us. For example, sex dreams about an ex don't necessarily mean that you literally want to have sex with your ex, but rather it's your unconscious or your psyche's way of getting your attention for an entirely different reason or need, such as the longing to connect with an underdeveloped part of ourselves, or a more masculine energy if we're dreaming about relations with a man, or a more feminine energy if we're dreaming about relations with a woman. And an older video of mine is likely relevant here, where I talk about the reason that many of us remain stuck on an ex is because of what that person represents for us rather than us actually wanting to get back together with that person. So the difference between wanting to be like someone versus wanting to be with someone. And I think that experience really plays a role when it comes to our dreams as well. We keep dreaming about a certain ex because they represent or embody something that we really crave and want for ourselves, but perhaps at a more unconscious level. And when I was doing some refresher reading and research about Jung's perspective on dreams for this video, I came across an amazing quote by Marie-Louise von Franz. Probably completely butchered that, but it said, "The unconscious doesn't waste much spit telling you what you already know." And I really love this quote because it perfectly explains why we maybe don't have many dreams about more obvious, relevant parts of our life that our conscious minds already know to be true, which would explain why we maybe don't have as many dreams about our current partner than we do our ex, because duh, we already know that we love and care for our current partner because that's a part of our everyday life. That's a part of our conscious mind already. Whereas the dreams about our ex are communicating a deeper, less conscious experience that likely needs our attention in order to dissect, but again, not in the literal way. So for example, dreams about your teeth falling out or showing up to school or work naked. Does that mean that our unconscious minds are scared of our teeth falling out or leaving the house without clothes on? No, but it is a way of communicating or processing some other type of real unconscious experience, such as certain fears or anxieties, stresses, or perhaps a big life transition or stage, things like that. And just on the note of dreams about teeth falling out or other bizarre content, why is it that when we have dreams about those types of things, we are able to brush them off or understand that sometimes we just have dreams that are really weird or illogical? And yet when we have dreams about an ex, we take them really literally and panic about their meaning. And the woman who led the therapy group that I keep referring to, Cheryl Paul, said that the reason we often apply so much weight to dreams about our exes is likely because of our cultural obsession with romance. We immediately interpret a dream about our ex as a sign that we must have an urge to be romantic with them again, rather than recognizing that those dreams are likely about our own inner needs and desires, ones that have absolutely nothing to do with the physical person that we're dreaming about. And in an article that Cheryl wrote, when it comes to dreams, she shared that we must remember that every element of a dream represents some part of the dreamer's unlived life. And this goes exactly in line with the quote that I shared before about the unconscious mind not wasting any time telling us what we already know, or in this case, what we have already lived. For example, and I'm about to get really personal and open here, but I have an ex who represents a time in my life where I felt really attractive and desirable. And that is not a dig at my current fiance, who is just so amazing and uplifting. This is just purely coincidental timing wise. But that time in my life was really the last time that I can recall feeling zero self-consciousness about my body and my sensuality and my sexuality and everything that relates to that. And I was just really connected to myself physically, and I felt hot. And it wasn't long, again, coincidentally, it wasn't long after we broke up that my body image issues started to creep in for the first time. And that sparked nearly a decade-long battle with BDD and disordered eating. And I desperately long to experience the body confidence and freedom that I felt during that time in my life when we just so happened to be together. And to this day, nearly 10 years on, I still have dreams about this ex. When I said at the start of this video that you are not alone when it comes to having dreams about an ex, even a very long time after that relationship ended, I meant it. I have been in a very happy, loving relationship with my fiance for over 8 years, and I still have these fucking dreams. But interestingly, every single time I have one of these dreams, I always look and feel like my hot little self in them. And that is always a reoccurring theme, even when it seemingly appears to be centered around my ex. And I've come to realize, amongst a variety of other underlying messages, I'm sure, because that ex did represent other things to me besides me feeling connected to myself as an attractive, desirable sexual being, that a big element of those dreams is to communicate that neglected aspect of myself, that aspect of my unconscious that does still desire to feel connected to my body and feel that type of physical, sensual confidence and empowerment. Because although I've done a ton of inner work on myself, that is an area that I still have a lot to unpack and heal. So that's just one example of what I'm talking about here. And I hope that by sharing that example, it will help broaden your thinking when it comes to interpreting your own dreams, especially the ones about an ex. Please do not allow your dreams to convince you that you want to get back together with your ex. Dig a little bit deeper. Do some journaling around what your ex represents for you or what aspects of yourself you may be neglecting. But before I go, I really encourage you to read Cheryl's full article on this topic, which I have linked in the description box down below, because in it she gives a really, really amazing example of a dialogue between herself and one of her clients who was also having reoccurring dreams about an ex, and the ways in which her client's unconscious mind was trying to draw her attention to her unfulfilled desires and passions. And I think that reading this dialogue will really help a lot of you and allow you to see your dreams for what they really are, which are representations of your psyche's longing to grow and evolve. And as Cheryl says, to grow the underdeveloped aspects of oneself, whether a deeper connection to one's creativity, spirituality, aliveness, fulfillment, or connection with the world in a meaningful way. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I have a feeling that you guys will have all kinds of interesting takes and opinions on this, given that dreams are so mysterious and up to individual interpretation. Everything that I've said is just my opinion, of course, so I would love to hear yours as well, even if it goes against my own. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next week.
Tell me what was in that stuff you gave me. I think I like it. In fact, it made me high.